Angwa Naruto norangwa nora.
Shetani ambaye anatembea anamfuata bila anafanya kazi kwa serikali yetu, anamfuata. Tunakataa katika jina la Yesu, katika jina la Yesu, katika jina la Yesu.
Roho Mtakatifu utamuongoza, Roho Mtakatifu utamuongoza, Roho Mtakatifu utamuongoza, Roho Mtakatifu utamuongoza.
The discussion and the conversation and the debate must change. It cannot continue to be about the leaders of Kenya, their positions, their interests, their issues. It must be about the 47 million of us, the 6 million young people who today are languishing because they don't have jobs, the 17 million Kenyans who live below the poverty line.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Home of Politics. I hope you have had a good day today, and it is my hope that you are doing well. I welcome all of you to this channel, new subscribers, returning viewers, and everybody who is making a success of the growth of this channel. Please feel so much appreciated. Continue sharing, subscribing, viewing, and also commenting on the comment section. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the government that we have today is one of the government that gave Kenyans and the church at large high hope of different system of leadership, only because it was considered a God-fearing government. This is because we see the church gave President William Ruto and his allies a lot of support during campaign, and even during the time of him entering the office for the first time, and people were very hopeful because influence was gathered from churches. Apart from churches, we see their families and everything is based on church foundation, whereby we can see Mama Rachel Ruto, that's the wife to President William Samoei Ruto. She is, I don't know, a bishop or a pastor, and she's running a very big church, and we were hoping that this will be translated into the leadership. Also, his deputy, Mama Dorcas, is a pastor, a very strong woman in faith, and this convinced a lot of Kenyans, churches, Christians. Everybody knew that the leadership will be based on everything to do with Christianity. But this was not the case immediately after they entered the office. For instance, a survey that had been done 1 year in office, things are different. What Christians were expecting of the churches, it is very different. What happened? This is because it came up different issues which could not be handled, could not be controlled, and some of the pastors, church leaders, members of clergy just felt like it is something to do with hypocrite, and this should be talked. The truth should be said, whereby people will accept the truth and accept to have new way of prioritizing their issues.
Sometimes you are misleading this nation. Naongea kama mtume, chief. Uchumi ni baya na mnatumia hizo pesa vile mnataka. Mnaongezea uchumi huko, mnaongezea pesa huko, mnaongezea vitu huko. Na mtu akiwaambia mnafuga kanisa, si muje mfuge. Si mfuge. Mfuge, stupid. Ndikuta nikihubiri, nitaongea na nitasema what is right, I will speak that. I swear before God. Some of you guys, you are misleading this nation. Na chuma kiko jikoni. Chuma kiko jikoni. Naongea kama mtume. Huyo gai mwadhakanake ni yako mtengura. Huyu Mungu mnacheza naye atawatoa kwa jiko. It is too much. Muongeze nyinyi wenyewe zenyu.
According to how you've just heard the bitterness that the church is having, that was Pastor Nganga speaking very bravely and courageously without caring what can happen, because he claims that When a church or a preacher stands for the truth, he or she will be persecuted to an extent that he will be arrested and the church will be closed down. He is seriously complaining about the high food prices, which it is true. So many people are not affording to put a meal on the table, and it is true, it is not just a joke. We also see high taxation. So many taxes have been imposed, and of late we have had these TVs that are airing the soap operas which are being acted from foreign nations will be taxed too, because they are coming up day and night with the new forms or new fashions of taxes to collect a lot of funds. We also see school fees. School fees has highly increased, especially in the university. Most of the students have not managed to join university level because of high school fees payment. We also see the issue of many trips. Pastor Nganga is complaining on a fact, because since this government took the control of the office, these allies of the president have been traveling so much on outside, every time trips, and this is costing us the payment of tax, which could be diverted to other things so that it can help Kenyans. And even the issue of too much trips have been complained so much by many Kenyans, and we hear that it have been reduced to specific leaders in government. Not everybody can travel abroad. So these are just some of the things, including fuel prices. Fuel prices, so far so good, it is very high, and increase in the transportation cost is another problem that has cost Kenyans so much. And so when you see the church has stood up to confront this issue of exploitation of Kenyans, it is really hurting everybody, and the church has a right or has influence to talk or to condemn this so that it can stop, because the same church is the same weapon that was used as influence to bring this government in power, because they consider this leadership as a God-fearing leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think about the issue of high living standard, the way this pastor just expressed, because everybody is suffering. Actually, there's no one who is safe. My good people, it is just a clear indication that churches and Christians at large have lost hope in this government, because as much as these leaders, being Christians, their fellow Christians were expecting a lot from them, and they hoped that a redeemer has come back who will redeem them from their problems. But this is not the fact. This is because the situation has been beyond control, and it has nothing to do with immediate changes that could be brought on the table.
So it is now a moment to face the truth. Just come out and tell Kenyans, the promises we made are unrealistic. Now let's go to prioritization. This is our priority number one. Priority number two, put aside until we get enough. Then we can now go to priority number two. But if we try to push, to achieve what we promised, and we all know that we have nothing to deliver the promises, then we are going to break everybody's back. You will even break your back, struggling to make happen what you know it can't happen. So let us just humble ourselves, face the moment of truth, and say, ndugu wenzangu, hii ndio ukweli. This is how we look like. We have to live within our means. Now we are going to reschedule our promises. Some are going to the next term or the other term because we can't deliver now. The priorities for this term are this and that, and we can be able to manage our country's affairs in a better way.
According also to that Archbishop Olesapit, it is just true that they are suffering, and it is time to accept our challenges and prioritize what issue should come first in the lives of Kenyans. Where the project will end, then he will leave it there, and the next leader who will come in the next regime, or if he will take it for the second term, then he will finish it in the next term. But the issue of lying to people, being hypocrites, this will be done, that will be done, that Archbishop is against it, and he feels like the truth must be told, because we see the same church leaders, the same clergy who were busy campaigning for this leadership, welcoming the campaigns in their churches, they are the same people who have turned against this leadership that is existing now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can see Kenya right now, 80% of people are Christians. And this leadership being amongst the 80% of Christianity that is in Kenya today, then we see church has got, or religion has got a big influence in the politics of Kenya. This is because, one, we assume that a big percentage of the people who voted are Christians. Two, the Christians who are put in the leadership position should act as the Christians, as Christians value expected out of them. But since this one has not come out clearly, then there is a possibility that they might be affected come the next elections, because once the church has lost trust in you, and this church are Christians in Kenya, which are 80%, and this translates to real figures of votes, then this government might have a coming problem in the next election, whereby they might lose a very big number of voters which are Christians. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can see the population of Kenya right now, a big percentage of the population are females, and these females are the people who are very notorious in religion, who have strong faith. Actually, if you go around churches, compare number of men to number of females or women around churches, marketplaces, schools, everywhere, you will find that this gender is extremely big if you compare with another gender. This is because females we are many, and it is easily to influence female than men. Now that these female are the majority in these churches, and they are majority who are voters again, because the population of Kenya, a lot of female, the ratio of female to men is not compared, it is very big compared to the other gender. Then it means that whenever this population, let me say, whenever the women have been convinced a lot that this Christian leader or this Christian leadership is a no-go zone because they have not fulfilled what they had planned, then the first thing, they will refrain from the coming elections, because they can refuse to go and vote. Even if it is their right, they can decide to stay away so that to make the election process to be difficult. At the same time, they can decide to be don't care in terms of engaging in political affairs, because they will feel like they were not represented previously during this regime. And knowing very well that the percentage of Christians are a lot of people who voted for these leaders, then issues to do with high taxation, high cost of living, and so many stories and narratives that were brought in by this government, then can make the same Christian leader to lose a lot of votes from his own Christians because of not fulfilling the promises that he had promised during the campaigns. If you can also see the other religion, that is Islam. Islam is a religion that is very strict. At the same time, they really uphold to the traditions, and they cannot allow anything that can interfere with the tradition or religion. This is because the other day you saw the first region to demonstrate against implementation of the LGBTQ society, it was Mombasa, and Coastal region is dominated so much with Islam religion, and these people are very disappointed because the court, apart from the court being led by so-called Christian leaders, they are the people who are paving rooms and loopholes to implement things that are against the religion and the tradition of Africa. This has lowered the border points of this government to an extent that some of the people are even preferring the leadership of the Muslim. And guess what? In the coming years, if you can see the number of Muslim leadership that has rose in Kenya, they will come to take a lot of control and influence over this so-called big percentage of Christianity. This is because if they can bring on the table how their religion works against how Christianity operates, then they can win it at a very big percentage, only that they got few number compared to Christianity. Ladies and gentlemen, according to how I have just analyzed all these issues to do with the expectations of the religion and the reality that the government have just delivered, then we see the church or the clergy should not go against or should not be operating in opposite sides with the government. Instead, it should be working in the same way so that they can advise each other to make sure that the political, social, economic, and everything, every aspect of our nation is smoothly run. But to an extent that the church or the religion or the clergy is going in an opposite direction with the government, then things are going to be very difficult. This is because we understand so well the influence that the church or the religion has on the politics of Kenya is a very big influence. This is because campaigns were done in churches. Christians are 80%. That translates to bigger votes that voted to this government. At the same time, the clergy has got its own role in policy making and lawmaking in Kenya, whereby whenever the lawmakers have tabled a certain procedure of implementing a law that is against the religion, the society, and it will bring a far-reaching effect, the religion is the first institution that should rise and be against it. For example, the issue of LGBTQ society. The religion could be the first to team up, whether Christian, whether Muslim, whether Buddhism, Hinduism, and others could have teamed up to oppose that law. But since these clergy were very quiet to stop some of the laws that have been put in place, now they are coming out shouting from one corner to one corner. It could be very, very much important if these bishops, like that one of Pastor Nganga, that one of Olesabit, Catholic, Islam, every type of religion could team up together and say no to this certain law that have been implemented, no to this expenditure. It could be a very simple thing to protect some of the things that have already gone worse. And now, having this issue of only one side of the clergy complaining and the others are just comfortable, they are just quiet, then it's not going to help us. It is a high time now these religions to team up together and bring their proposals. Even if they want to amend some of the laws or policies, it will be very simple because of that unity. Not one pastor, not one bishop feeling uncomfortable about something else while other clergies are very silent. And what will be the effect of this issue of the clergy or religion having differences or operating in opposite direction with the government? One of the biggest threat is that this government in the next polls might lose a lot of votes. This is because if the church has got a big influence, assuming that 80% of the population of Kenya is Christian, and these Christians are the same people who voted for this government, then it translates to losing of hope in future, because some of the things that Christians have while in religion, it is because of hope and faith for the better future or better tomorrow. And this might bring down the number of votes that might bring or lead this government to be a one-term leadership. I don't know what you think about this issue, but send me ideas in the comment section. Have a good day.